Make the stove heated.
What are you going to use to make the stove heated?
And have a fire in it.
What?
A little fire and wood to put in the stove, and a bit of charcoal will do it.
A bit of what?
Charcoal and wood and...
Oh, are you saying charcoal?
Yeah, and sticks and wood that are really dry. And
Okay,
I'll put them in the deepest point of the stove so it doesn't set a fire inside the biggest area of the house, which is the emergency evacuation room.
All right, let's keep going. I got sparks, and more sparks.
Could be in an earthquake.
Okay, we're not.
In a forest.
Come on. I even hit the tinder with the sparks. The tinder burned all right, but that's as far as I got. I blew on it. I breathed on it. I cupped it in my hands. But no sooner did I add twigs than the whole thing went black. And then it got too dark to see. I clicked steel and flint together, even though I couldn't see the tinder. And finally, I gave up.
Forest.
Come on. I even hit the tinder with the sparks. The tinder burned all right, but that's as far as I got. I blew on it. I breathed on it. I cupped it in my hands. But no sooner did I add twigs than the whole thing went black. And then it got too dark to see. I clicked steel and flint together, even though I couldn't see the tinder. And finally, I gave up and I crawled into my hemlock tent, hungry, cold, and miserable. I can talk about that first night now, although it's still embarrassing to me because I was so stupid and scared, and I hate to admit it. I'd made my hemlock bed right in the stream valley where the wind drained down from the cold mountaintop, and it might have been all right if I'd made it on the other side of the boulder, but I didn't. I was right off the main highway of the cold. I crawled into my hemlock tent, hungry, boulder, but I didn't. I was right off the main highway of the cold winds as they tore down upon the valley below. I didn't have enough hemlock boughs under me, and before I had my head down, my stomach was cold and damp. I took some boughs off my roof and stuffed them under me, and then my shoulders were cold. I curled up in a ball, and I was almost asleep when a whippoorwill called. If you've ever been within 40 feet of a whippoorwill, you'll understand why I couldn't even shut my eyes. They're deafening. Well, anyway, the whole night went like that. I don't think I slept 15 minutes, and I was so scared and tired that my throat was dry. I wanted a drink, but didn't dare go near the stream for fear of making a misstep and falling in and getting wet, because that would make him colder, right? So I sat and shivered and shook. Here's another picture. Want to see the picture?
Show me every picture in the book.
I will. And now I'm able to say I cried a little bit. A little tiny bit. Fortunately, the sun has a wonderfully glorious habit of rising every morning. And when the sky lightened, when the birds awoke, I knew I would never again see anything so splendid as the round red sun coming up over the earth. I was immediately cheered and set out directly for the highway. And somehow I thought that if I were a little nearer the road, everything would be all right. I climbed a hill and stopped. There was a house warm and cozy with smoke coming out of the chimney and lights in the windows and only 100 feet from my torture camp. Without considering my pride, why do you think he called it a torture camp?
Don't know.
Did he feel tortured because he couldn't sleep and he was cold and wet? And the whippoorwill? What do you think a whippoorwill is?
Don't know.
Oh, come on. What do you think a whippoorwill might be?
It might be a monster.
Well, it could be, but it's a kind of bird with a very loud call.
Why is it very loud?
You know what? We can pull up the sound of a whippoorwill so you can hear it. I don't know why it's loud, but I've never heard one. But supposedly it's loud. Hey.
You know, have you ever seen one up close?
I've never seen one.
never seen one up close?
I've never seen one at all. I don't even think I've seen a picture. Without considering my pride, I ran down...
How about you see one now?
Oh, we can. We can take a look at one. You want to see what one looks like?
Let's see. Yeah. Let's both see.
All right. What does a whippoorwill look like?
Ask Siri for a picture.
Whippoorwill. What do you think?
Let's make it alarm
Oh, we probably could. I just don't know how right now.
Could we do it?
We could.
Because it would keep me awake forever.
Yeah? Without considering my pride, I ran down the hill and banged on the door. A nice old man answered. I told him everything in one long sentence, and then said, "And so can I cook my fish here? 'Cause I haven't eaten in years." He chuckled, stroked his whiskery face, and took the fish. He had them cooking in a pan before I knew what his name was. And when I asked him, he said Bill something, but I never heard his last name, because I fell asleep in his rocking chair that was pulled up beside his big, hot, glorious wood stove in the kitchen. I ate the fish some hours later, and also some bread, jelly, oatmeal, and cream, and then he said to me, "Sam Gribley, if you're going to run off and live in the woods, you better learn how to make a fire. Come with me." And we spent the afternoon practicing. I penciled these notes on the back of a scrap of paper so I wouldn't forget. When the tinder glows, keep blowing and add fine, dry needles, one by one, and keep blowing steadily, lightly and evenly. Add 1-inch dry twigs to the needles and give her a good big handful of small dry stuff, and keep blowing. All right, so...
Is that how we make a fire?
Yeah, and when we look at Cub Scouts, you'll learn to make a fire, too. So what do you think, Zach? That's the end of that chapter.
Maybe I'm going to on a stone stove and put some. Could you give me some materials to build my house when I first go to Cub Scouts? Because I'm only to be able to build a house in the wild to survive.
Wouldn't that be cool?